Welcome to the Just Danny Show. It's been a hot minute since I've done a podcast. I was trying to take a little bit of a sabbatical after this last election, and I did. I had some time to just chill a little bit, but sometimes you have to come back a little early from your little vacation. So here I am, and it couldn't be at a better time, only because last night's council meeting, as usual, was a shit show. I think council meetings have been a shit show for quite some time now. And I had high hopes with the new folks coming in that things would be just awesome, right? And not so much. Not because of the new people. But because of the leftovers that unfortunately got elected back into their seat. And they're having a titty baby fit because their buddies didn't get to stay in. They got kicked out, as you were aware, because again, it's been a while since I've been on a podcast. Gonzo, gone. Pines, gone. And Ballsack, the city manager, gone. So who's left? Unfortunately, Tim the Tool, Murry, mouth breather, uneducated fool that we get to begrudgingly call the city mayor. So let's jump in. Sorry, I did my little preface there to this shit show. Now, the consent agenda was actually the shit show. I've never seen a consent agenda be such a shit show ever in the 6 years that I've been doing this. So it was new for me. So there were 14 items on the consent agenda. A large portion of these were pulled by Murray's minions. And who do I mean by that? Well, I mean Paula Hoisington and Brian Bain, who, P.S., by the way, are actively auditioning for council. Every meeting, every workshop, continually going up there and speaking. Continually. Brian Bain is running. I don't know if he's going to take on Todd or Chandra this next off election in November. And Paula Hoisington is definitely going to run. Question is she going to do it this time, or is she going to wait for Murray to tap out maybe next year? I mean, he does have one more, he has an ability to run it one more term before he terms out. So will he step down next year, next November, and allow Paula to come on in? The water's fine, and be the first black female mayor, because we always have to make it about race. Always got to make it about race. So is that what she's going to do? Or is she just going to say, fuck it up, I'm going to take on Chandra, or I'm going to take on Todd? I don't know. So don't know, but it's going to happen. So anyway, so those are his minions. At least they were last night. I don't know why Otis didn't get up and speak. I don't know if he was there because Jay Bryan doesn't show the audience when he's filming. So I don't know if Otis was in fact there or not. But Paula sure was, and of course Brian Bain sure was. And so they, Paula, Bain, and Murray, pulled some items on the agenda. Now, why did they do that? Well, because they're meeting beforehand. This is all a ploy. Murray's gathered his minions. And again, it's to take back Claremont and put it back into the dark Democratic ways. And passing shitty development for the good old boys. And we'll get into more of that at the end, because I do want to really delve into that and explain that aspect to you. But just starting off in general here, so it's Paula, Brian Bain, who both sit on the P&Z board. And the only reason why Paula got in there was because it was by default, because they didn't have enough people to vie for the seat properly. So by default, she got in there. So anyway, let me see. I got to remember here what was pulled. Temporary employment services, item number 5, was pulled by Hoisington. I don't know. I think she just likes to get up there and be theatrical with her whispering. What are we doing? We, the people. Oh, I can't take it anymore. Anyway, so she pulled it, and that's how she talks, by the way. P.S. In case you don't know who Paula Hoisington is. I like to call her the ghetto Yoda. You remember that, right, Paula? Because you came up and confronted me asking me why I called you that. Figure it out. Anyway, she pulled item number 5. Temporary employment services. And to be honest with you, I don't even remember what the hell her problem was with that. It was very minuscule and stupid. Again, she's auditioning for council, so she has to take as many opportunities as she can to get up there and just spew ridiculousness. God, I'm trying to remember what the hell that was. Anyways, okay, well, whatever. Then they pulled number 8, which was a splash park admission fee waiver. Okay, I don't know who. They did not say petition, or well, I get, for lack of a better term, just put it on the agenda last night. Who was in charge of putting that on there and wanted to get rid of the admission fee to use the splash pad there here in the city. I don't know who it was. It doesn't really matter, I guess, who put this on the agenda, but somebody did from the council, I'm assuming, wanted to be able to offer the splash pad free of charge. And that's all it was. Consider waiving individual splash park admission fees. So that was pulled, I believe, by Brian Bain. Again, auditioning every chance he can get for probably wants some video clips to put in his old campaign ads too. So that worked out for him. Anyway, so the debacle with that was Murray's got to make something out of something all the fucking time. His thing was, if we're not charging, what are we doing with the attendants that sit there and kind of watch, take the money, watch over the kids or whatever? What are we doing with those jobs? Are those jobs going away? Are we, as Brian Bain put, reallocating those jobs and those people somewhere else? That was Brian's big fucking thing when he pulled it. And then once he sat down, like I said, Murray was like, well, if we're not charging anymore, I'm just worried about these people with the jobs. Like, we got some college folk and high school kids during the summer, just gonna mess with the jobs and, the money. And so, I'm just, I have some concerns about that. Haven't done that Murray voice in a while. It's making my throat hurt a little bit. Oh, whale just came over me. Anyway, so then he went on to say if they're getting rid of the jobs, which I think it was the parks guy or something, his name's Brian, so many Brians, went up there and said, well, yeah, we wouldn't hire the seasonal help. And they were just seasonal. It wasn't like they were full-time with full benefits or some shit. He says, yeah, we wouldn't charge anymore, of course, and then we wouldn't hire seasonal folks to come on in and take the money and just, I guess, oversee the park and stand there. So Murray was like, oh, well, the safety of the children, and everything, okay. If we don't have anyone there, someone gonna sue us if they fall or something. And then Christian, the interim city attorney, who I will tell you later, well, I'll just do a spoiler alert, he was voted in as permanent attorney. And we'll go over that at the end too, because that was funny. Not anything to do with Christian, the other attorney that was trying to vie for the position. But anyway, Christian was like, well, we could get sued at any time. The city, that's, what happens with cities. We can get sued at any time for anything. Someone, falling on the basketball court or tripping or something like that, like we can get sued. So Christian was saying, while your concerns with children, maybe falling, getting hurt are, they're valid. it basically don't put this in a box and just say, okay, just the splash pad, we're going to get sued if there's not an attendee there, getting paid to stand there. And then, Todd Howard brought up, same kind of thing. Like, we don't have people overseeing the basketball courts, the baseball fields, stuff like that. And again, we could always get sued. And then Murry was just real adamant about the safety of the kids and getting sued. And Allison Strange brought up, well, these are smaller kids, yes, because Murry said they were smaller kids, and we get that. Smaller kids aren't going to go to a splash pad by themselves. We're talking 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. They're not going to go to a splash pad by themselves without parental supervision. Their parents are going to bring them there, and they're going to stand there and watch them. So that kind of went back and forth, and Murry just, kept on and kept on, because that's what he does. He likes to hear himself talk and waste time and everybody else's time. And then Bill Peterson, asked if the attendees, that they currently had for the seasonal employment were like CPR certified, or, is it basically, well, if there's, I think what he was trying to get at was if they're CPR certified, then I could see maybe having them there. So if something did happen, they could, resuscitate them or, fix them. But they were not. They're not asked to be, they're not required to be CPR certified. And so, and then Murry piped in, well, the fire department gives free CPR classes, and we could take these people and get them certified in CPR, and then he went back on to the trip of, these are young kids, college students coming home for the summer, they need these jobs, blah, 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 blah. And that kind of went back and forth stupidly, but in the end, it passed. Like, no more fees to use the splash park, and it's passed 3-2 with Murry and oddly Bill Peterson voting against it. Then the real shit show came in on item 9. Item 9 made this meeting go to, I think it was like 12:40 is when this meeting ended. It started at 6:30. This item it took me back to the Performing Arts Center, the ARC, if you will. And it happened twice with the ARC. You remember this. A bunch of gaslighting going on from Bow Ties back in the day. I say back in the day, it wasn't that long ago. Just gaslighting the whole town up with help from his little cohort over there. Won't mention names, that, halfway runs the ARC, and just spread it like herpes all over the town and within City Hall to the staff that, oh my God, they're gonna close down the fucking ARC. Oh my God! And then they had like flyers up, and you remember this. This was some horse shit. They did it once back in 2022 when we were discussing the millage rate increase and how it was stupid. We didn't need a millage rate increase, and that was brought into it at the same time. So you remember, that was when it was first brought up, and it was a lie. Balsack wanted to start his own rumor just to get people fired up and upset, because that's what mental people do. That's what psychos do. They like to gaslight people to the point where they cause anxiety and tears, and we're going to get to that. Tears. And get them all worked up so they look good, all in the name of a political scheme. Because that's what it was last night, just like the ARC bullshit in 2022. And again, the ARC bullshit came up not even a year ago. Same thing. Oh my God, Todd's going to... Because Todd mentioned when they were doing the budgeting or the budget hearings and stuff, or the workshops actually, and initially is where it started. Todd said, if we're not going to utilize the ARC properly, then we should just sell it. That's all he said. But then that turned into a shit show of, oh my God, the sky's falling again. They're going to close the ARC again. It wasn't true the first time in 2022, and it certainly wasn't true this last time. But they wanted to make Todd look like shit. And I'm going to get to all that at the end, because when I give you my synopsis of what's going on in this city. But anyway, let's go back to this. So I felt like I was reliving the Ark bullshit. Here we go again, except it's not the Ark, it's the row house. It's the boathouse with the rowing people, Lake County Rowing Association. They call themselves LCRA. Because as you are aware, they lease that from the city, and they have leased it for a long time. Everybody that utilizes that and is in that group, they love it. And it's cool because like the kids enjoy it. They have a sport that they're getting grants, scholarships. They're going to all of these competitions and they're winning. And it's just a really good thing for kids to be involved in and find a sport that they enjoy. And it's been just this long-term thing. Everybody that's ever been in it or is associated with it loves it. And ironically, Allison Strange herself, I think she said last night, she actually founded that association. She was the president over it. So she knows about this. Like this was her baby at one time. So she's was heavily involved. She knows all about this. So anyway, item number 9 was pulled. And I believe that was Paula Hoisington. And she went up there with her whispering, theatrical voice. Very dramatic. Oh, God. Anyway, so she was talking about transparency and about the Rowing Association Boathouse Short-Term Agreement Extension is what it was, item number 9. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. I get off on a tangent. I apologize. So item number 9, Lake County Rowing Association / Boathouse Short-Term Agreement Extension. Consider extending the Boathouse Management Agreement through July 31st of 2025. So when this was put on the agenda, there was a company, a female-owned company, their sporting company, like they rent out like sporting equipment. I don't know. They do sports of some sort. I don't know. I don't give a shit. But they saw this on the agenda. And in the interim before the meeting, they had emailed, I think it was Murry and Howard and maybe all the council. I'm not sure, but they're the only ones that really talked about it. Their proposal, they wanted to take over the lease because they were reading this. Not so much reading this, but there was misinformation, as the libs like to say, going on. I'm gonna change that to rumors. Rumors and gaslighting going on in the city leading up to this meeting that they were going to shut down the row house. They're going to take that lease away. Oh, it was up for grabs. So because of all these rumors, this female-owned sporting company, whatever, for lack of a better term, what the hell they do, I don't care. They heard this rumor and they jumped on it. And so they started emailing their proposals and their presentation about how they could take over the lease because it's up for grabs, right? It's up for renewal. It's, it's open. And so they sent their presentation in and wanted it. So that's, and so this spread like wildfire throughout, like herpes throughout the whole city, that the row house lease was only going to be temporarily extended, that they were looking for something new to go into the row house and blah, 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 blah. And then it just caught on like wildfire. I wonder who started that rumor. Murry. But we'll get to that. So, again, this just reads, consider extending the Boathouse Management Agreement through July 31st, 2025. It was like a 6 month. Is it extended like 6 months? And the reason being, and I guess the packet really didn't explain too much. On its face, the plain language of this agenda, I guess, was confusing to the libtards that wanted this pulled. And number 2, to the person that started the rumor, because they had, I believe it was it Parks and Rec guy, or was it, Oh, I'm having a brain fart. His name Frank. What's his name? Freddie. Was it Freddie? I can't remember. Freddie or Brian, one of the two. He went up after Paula pulled this and saying, we the people deserve transparency, and how could you do this? And how could you let this lease just go on and expire without renewing it? And now you're just going to give them a little bit of an extension. Is it until you find something better for the boathouse, a better usage? Or what are you doing? Because these people, these women they're wanting it now. And so it makes it look like it's, I'm sorry, it was Brian Bain. I take that back. It was Brian Bain that pulled this because he said ominous. It makes it ominous as to the row house losing the lease, that they're just getting this little baby extension while you guys figure out what you want to put in there. It's ominous. And then, of course, Paula Hoisington tag teamed them. This is where I get confused at who pulled what, because they tag team each other at the behest of Murry. It's all orchestrated by Murry. So you can see why it gets kind of confusing. But, they're all in on it. So then Paula got up there and said that it was, there was no transparency, and what are you all doing? And the attachments to the agenda didn't really say anything. So then Freddie gets up there, or Brian, I can't remember which, said, he apologizes if it appeared to be ominous, but literally all this agenda item was to renew the contract, change the verbiage, because this contract has been utilized over and over and over again. And so and they said that the language in it was very vague. And so, as with any business or any contract that government contract or whatever, you often will update your contracts. You'll change the verbiage. You'll make the contract stronger. And it kind of it often goes with the times. Times are changing, right? So contracts need to keep up with the times. You're always going to have to update your contracts. They just can't be cookie cutter the same all the time. You need to update them. So again, I don't know if it was like Freddie or if it was Brian, but they said literally this was just that. We can't just slap together a real quick contract, because they knew they wanted to update it, but they didn't have time to update it at the time that it had expired. And I'll go over that in just a second. So they wanted time to be able to update it with the correct verbiage and make it a stronger contract. So it's best for the rowing association as well as the city. That's it. That's all it was. Nothing nefarious, Paula Bain. Nothing. That's all it was. We just need time to update this contract. But because we have to be in a contractual agreement in regard to this lease to the rowing association, we have to take this old contract. What we'll do is we'll take this old contract and we'll just extend it for another 5 to 6 months, just why we can work on getting a better contract put together with better verbiage. Literally, that was it. Freddie, like I said, or the Brian guy from Parks, went up there and literally stated that, because this was him putting this on here. Literally stated that. And then Todd Howard came in and said the same thing. He said, we didn't want to slap together really quick this basically a bullshit contract that's sloppy, and give them another 10 years on a sloppy contract. So we're just giving them the current contract and extending it until we can get a better one written up for the betterment of them and for the city. That's exactly what Todd Howard said, right? And mind you, this is before the crowd. And I'm told, again, Jay Bryan doesn't show the audience, but I'm told there was more people in that room than showed up for the assisted living facility. And when they showed up for the assisted living facility several months ago, it was so packed in there that Murry made them all go out in the hallway into the lobby area and even outside. He didn't want them in because there were just too many people. And from what I'm hearing from people that were actually in attendance last night, there was more people than that in the actual room. They weren't made to stand out in the hallway. That's because Murry orchestrated this shit show and wanted them all in there. Now, what do I mean by organize? You're probably going, what is going on here? I don't understand, Dooney. I don't understand what you're saying. Well, I will continue on. So after Todd said that, after Freddie or Brian Guy from Parks said that, then that's when the shit show started. All these people started coming up, some in tears, some children, a lot of them children, as young as 10 years old, were up there in the microphone begging and crying to the council to not tear down. One kid said, tear down the row house. The rest of them said, please don't take it away from us. Crying. One grown-ass man was up there crying. Single mom was up there crying. Again, I'm having flashbacks from the Ark because they used children for that political scheme too. Murry used this to be a dick. Number one, to Rick Van Wagner. Because this this agreement, this lease with the Rowing Association expired. I think some 18 months ago. They kept saying 18 months, which was before Todd was even in there. And way before Bill Peterson and Allison, and way before Rick Van Wagner. Okay, Murray? So fuck you. So it expired. No one was, I guess, paying attention that this lease had expired, inclusive of Balsack, who was the city manager during that time. Once Rick Van Wagner has been in there, he's been cleaning up the city's mess that Balsack left behind and is finding out different things that had transpired that was happening. Really bad shit. That's for a later podcast. But he found out while he's been the interim that, oh shit, this Lake County Rowing Association lease expired months ago. And I guess within the lease or within some kind of contract, well, I guess it would be the contract, some contractual agreement that literally states in there, I can't do this verbatim, not that, I can't remember that good, but like basically to the fact that if the Rowing Association doesn't basically come to the table and renegotiate a lease, that they have to immediately, I guess, turn over the keys to the boathouse because the lease is just null and void. Like they have to make an attempt to renegotiate or something into that capacity. Like I said, I can't remember it verbatim. That meeting was 6 hours long. So it was detrimental to the Rowing Association that they did get this extension. Hence why they put it on here. Hey, we just found out about this. We had no idea it was expiring. Again, Rick just has come in and has been cleaning up Balsack's mess. Why didn't past council or Balsack know about this, or even Scott Davidoff for that matter? No one knew about it until the last minute. And that's because Rick brought it up to Murray. He emailed Murray and let Murray know, or called him or something, but he contacted Murray first and foremost about this. And then Murray, of course, threw his hands up. Oh, I didn't know, and I apologize, and everything. But we should just give them another 10-year lease right now, right on the spot. And not extend this out, just 6 months. Like, what are we doing here? And, of course, Paula Hoisington, when she was up there, like, what are y'all doing? What? There's no transparency. What are you doing? That's how she talks. It's like, what are we doing? We just found out about this shit thanks to Rick, and we want to make a better contract and update it. So in the interim, we'll just extend the shitty contract that we've been using for years and years and years for another 6 months until we can get a better contract. That's what we're doing. What don't you understand? Ray Charles can see what the fuck they were doing. I don't know why, they need to have their hands held like toddlers to explain this. But the most disgusting part about item number 9 last night is the children that were affected. They were gaslit because Murray is a dipshit and a liar, and he likes to fucking cause division and sow discord in this community. He's a fucking Obama is what he is. And then he's got Brian Bain and Paula Hoisin to play into that narrative. And that's exactly what it was. It was a political narrative, just like the ARC, to gaslight the community, taking a benign agenda item and turning it into, we're going to tear down the row house. Upsetting all of these children as young as 10 years old up there last night, crying. Disgusting. And Murry was up there just, you know how he gets. He gets his little, and he's just up there. He's just getting a chub from these children's grief and their anxiety and their crying. What kind of mental patient do you have to be to get off on children crying, even some adults crying, to manipulate people's emotions like that? What kind of sick fuck are you? It's like he's taking Balzac's place, because Balzac did the same thing with the ARC, letting kids go up there and cry, adults go up there and cry, thinking that they were going to take the ARC away. It never was a thing. This was never a thing. Again, it was just to update the contract. And thank God for Allison Strange. And I'm sure Todd would have covered it, but Allison covered it perfectly and gracefully last night. But she said exactly what I was thinking at the very end. Because remember, Todd and Freddie or Brian with the Parks and Rec, I can't remember, said in the beginning what it was after Brian Bain pulled it. They said what it was. But still, the parents of these children that were distraught still played the game or continued believing the rumor and still allowed their kids to go up there one by one, by one, by one, by one, by... This is why the meeting was so long last night. I think we spent maybe, 2-3 hours just on this? Because you can't shut them down. It's their right to speak. It's a public meeting. It's an agenda item. Now, there were some things that Murry could have done that he chose not to do, only because it was his rumor. He wanted to throw Todd under the bus and make it look like it was all Todd's fault. That's on video for you to watch. He blamed Todd for this, basically. And then Paula started to talk about sidebar meetings and shit. No, there was no sidebar meetings, Hoisington. It was Todd talking to staff because that's what Todd's supposed to fucking do. But, yeah, so all of these children came up there. And so at the very end, when it finally stopped and they were done, they tapped out, Allison, and again, I'm not going to do it verbatim, but Allison, in a nutshell, said, first and foremost, she commended the children for being brave, and, speaking great up there. Thank you for coming up. You did great. You're brave, blah, 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 blah. But she says, I have some concerns. And she called out the parents for allowing their children to be involved in a political scheme. Because that's what it was. Just like the ARC. Balzac started that rumor to get people hating on Todd for just making a comment about, if we're not going to utilize the ARC till its fullest capacity, we should probably just sell it. Right? And now Murry was using this as a political scheme. Because remember, we have an election coming up. That off election, you guys probably forget about this November. People are going to start picking up their packets in June. So he's setting the scene. And he's utilizing Paula Hoisington and Brian Bain to help him set the scene, to start throwing Todd under the bus. So Brian Bain, who's probably going to go after Todd's seat, I imagine so, to set Brian Bain up for a smooth transition onto the dais and kicking Todd out. This is what they're doing. They're mental. They're sick. And they thought nothing of using small children to help with their political scheming. And Allison called it out. I was thinking it the whole time, and she called it out. Because, again, Ray Charles can see what Murry was doing. He orchestrated the whole fucking thing. And if you can't see that, you're part of the fucking problem. There's some really nefarious, shitty shit happening in our own city. This is Kmart level politics, folks. And Murry is desperate. And again, I'm going to go over that at the end. But that's what happened on item number 9. Allison called it out for what it was and chastised the parents ever so graciously about allowing their children to be used like that for political scheming, because that's what it was. So that, folks, is what took up the entire meeting last night, was item number 9, over just trying to strengthen and change up a contract lease with the Rowing Association. Then we got to unfinished business, land development code amendment for storage. And then we got to number 18, the business tax receipts. That was a little bit of a debacle because this was Todd Howard's baby. He had put it on the agenda because he wanted to cut government out of businesses. He just wants less government. And that's what he ran on. And he has been an advocate for getting rid of business tax receipts for a very long time. And it was originally brought up during the budget workshops and all that. And so it's on the agenda. Well, Murry had a problem with it. And so did Chandra. They want their money, and they want to make sure what businesses are going on out there, because this also helps, because if you make businesses come in, people that come into town, even operating out of their homes, and you make them come in and get a business tax receipt, and you pay, it's actually a business license, but I guess they changed the verbiage at some point to business tax receipts. So it was actually a business license. So they could actually keep track of the businesses that were in the city of Claremont, and this was one way they could do it, by giving out business licenses and charging for those business licenses every year, having them renewed, and so they could just kind of keep up with what businesses were going on. But Todd had a good point. He's like, it's not so much the money, it's just the hoops that they have to jump through and to remember to do this. And it's just, he just wants to take big government out of the picture with businesses. And then it depends on how much it's going to be. I'm guessing, from what my understanding, the way Allison worded it was like these bigger businesses that come in, like they want to start attracting manufacturing, right, to come in, which I'm 100% for. I love commercial, and I think it's great to have manufacturing come in. I was talking about this 3 years ago. I guess it depends on how many employees you have and how much they charge you and such. So she was saying, we're trying to bring these people in. We want to, have them come into Claremont. And if we get rid of the business tax receipt, that is an incentive for them to come in. Again, Murry just wasn't having it. He wanted to be, in everybody's business and know what we had. And then Todd brought up a good point. He's like, there are people, he said, Murry, running businesses out of their homes, and they don't come in and check in with the city of Claremont and get a business license. Again, business tax receipt. I like to say business license because it makes more sense. And come in and get a business license. They don't care because they're not going to get caught. You know how many businesses there are who sit out there operating out of their house, or maybe a garage or something, that they don't register with the city. So really, what difference does it make, Murry? But you couldn't get that past Murray's brain. And then of course Chandra pipes in, as a typical Democrat that she is. She's like, well, I think that they should come in and pay us. If we're going to allow them to come in, I think they should come in and pay us because they have the money. Ding, 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 ding. Todd's ears turn red on that one, because they have the money. Typical Democrat. Well, if you own a business, you're rich and you have the money. And so he popped off on her and said, look at here. We have the money. We got to pay this. We got to pay that. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to get permits for this. You know what I mean? So in typical, like I said, Democrat fashion, she was like, well, they have the money, because that's how they think, right? So anyways, that passed 3-2. Murry and, of course, Chandra were against it. And then there was item number 22 and item 23, which that was Crawford's baby, Jimmy Crawford's baby. And it got poo-pooed. It got poo-pooed the first time they came before the council, and it got poo-pooed again last night because Allison started off the motion that she just couldn't wrap her head around the usage, the safety of the usage. And if you're unaware, this was over there by Portillo's and the barbecue place over there, that vacant lot over there. They called it Claremont West Phase 2, and they needed a CUP to get this done. And they had gone through a mediated settlement agreement between the city and Claremont West investors. So before you do a writ of certiorari because you're pissed off about how, the city poo-pooed your CUP, your PUD, you will go through mediation. And then there'll be a mediation settlement where, okay, we reach the settlement, we'll go back, we'll redo this, and we'll come back to you. And that's what happened here. And so they came before them last night, and Allison said, I'm sorry, I just can't wrap my head around this usage, the safety of it. And she goes, I'm not talking about the daycare aspect of it. So, because they wanted, get this, 2 hotels, and they were extended stays, a storage unit, large storage unit, and a daycare, all shoved right there on this parcel. Could you imagine? What the fuck? What is that? Now, according to the rules, the codes, if they just wanted to build the daycare facility, they could without a CUP. They could build that tomorrow and be cool. They needed to get the CUP for all the other mechanisms involved, which is the 2 extender stays and the storage. And so, Crawford likes to be passive aggressive up there with threats. That's just who Crawford is. Usually it's, I'm going to sue you. And he says that passively aggressively in a different context. It's not so like in your face, but it is passive aggressive. And if you're smart, you'll pick up what he's putting down. So he kind of used another he did. He was passive aggressive last night and saying, we can go ahead and do this daycare. You can't poo-poo us basically on the daycare. So, Christian, the city attorney, piped in and he said, well, Mr. Crawford's right on the daycare aspect, but you as a council, if you're going to deny this, have to, give your reason. And it's, the conditional use permit. They do need that. And what happens with a conditional use permit? Well, it's the safety and the well-being of the surrounding areas. That's part of the criteria to pass a CUP. It can't fuck up the safety. I used to know it by heart. The safety and general well-being of the people around this development, right? So, Allison's smart. So when she denied it and she just put a motion out there, I'm going to make a motion to deny this because I can't wrap my head around the usage here. It's just crazy. And then she was smart because she said, and it's not because of the daycare. She literally said, it's not because of the daycare, it's because of the other uses mixed in that I just can't wrap my head around. And you're probably already saying to yourself, an extended stay on top of a daycare facility? That's some dangerous shit. They said, we kind of put some buffers in a walkway and we heard you and no. Extended stay with a daycare right there, I don't even need to tell you what I'm thinking. It's disgusting and it's not safe. So that got poo-pooed and I was really happy about that. But Jimmy Crawford wasn't. Never saw him so deflated in all the 6 years that I've been in on this bullshit politics in Claremont. He was very deflated. He looked like a sad boy walking away from, like, he couldn't get cake or something. Then we went to item number 24, city attorney qualification results. And I said, I would go over this real quick. So there was fucking fighting last meeting about the RFQ because for an attorney to get a city attorney. And Allison had some specific qualifications that she wanted to put in there. Well, Murry didn't really pay attention to those initially. And then when he realized, like the next day or the day after that, oh my God, she wants somebody certified in real estate law, like that was just too much for him. Probably because the people that are controlling Murry, and again, we'll get into that here at the end, wanted who they wanted in there. And so Murry pitched a fit and said, wait a second, and he refused to vote and do his little analysis of the people that actually responded to the RSQ. So I think there was only 2. Of course, Christian Waugh, who was the interim and now the official one, spoiler alert from earlier. He applied because he is, certified in real estate law. And there was only one other, and it was like TR or something law firm, and they're out of Miami. But But they are the city attorneys for DeLand, they said, and they were getting ready to put another office in, I think they said Osceola. And that the woman that came up to do the little mini presentation of her law firm, this Miami law firm, said that I guess she resides in Central Florida and they do a lot of work there as well. So anyway, so they only got Christian Waugh and this Miami-based attorneys. And so the council members had to do a scoring, like a Rubik's, like, of like what they thought of each attorney. And Murry, the titty baby, argumentative piece of shit trash that he is, refused to be part of that. So he didn't want any part of rating them because, damn it, he wanted the RFQ changed to just, basic bitch attorneys. So he didn't partake. From what I'm gathering, they didn't really say who partook, but I'm pretty sure it was Chandra because I think she said she did rate. So it was Chandra, and I'm pretty sure Allison and Todd. Maybe Bill sat out or couldn't or whatever. I don't know. The two people, one was Murry, and I don't know who the other one was that sat out. I'm going to guess maybe it was Bill. I'm not sure. Because I know Allison, because that was her baby, the RFQ and the qualifications and all that. So I guarantee you she scored these two attorneys. Well, anyway, so Christian was scored 89%. And the other attorney office was scored, I think, at 50-something%. So because the attorney, the law firm runs the law firm, she was in the audience. And this was late. It's probably like midnight at this point. I don't know, maybe 11:30. So she comes up to do her little presentation. And she was a little firecracker. I mean, she was short. She was probably about as short as me. Pretty, heavy. Stocky, whatever, and dressed in a man suit. It is what it is. We pretty much guess that, that she went a certain way. Doesn't matter. As long as you're qualified and you're a good person, I don't care who you sleep with. I just don't need this shit shoved down my throat, but that's for another podcast. But she was super nice. She was smart. She was very well-spoken. I enjoyed her presentation. I thought she was actually pretty cool. I liked her. And she said together, because she kept mentioning a Paul, and there was a John. There's another guy that was part of her law firm. And together combined, they had 30 years experience with government law. She's from a government law background as far as her parents. They're both attorneys in government law. She's absolutely loves it, blah, 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 blah. Again, I was very impressed. She had a great presentation. And then when she got done, Murry, in all his retarded glory, that's right, I said that word because I'm an 80s chick. And if you're going to take offense to that, then you shouldn't even be listening to my podcast. He said, "Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir." I about fell off the chair. I was laughing so hard I couldn't even hear. Somebody said something to correct him. And then I could hear, and I forget her name, but the woman, she said, oh, that's okay. And, she was giggling herself. But Murry is so fucking dumb. Called her sir. Clearly she was a woman. So anyways, they ended up picking Christian. Chandra voted against Christian because she felt like he didn't have the experience because he was young and didn't have as much experience combined as the woman. And then, of course, Murry, because Murray's just a dick, he voted against Christian. But it passed 3-2. So Christian Waugh is your new city attorney. Then there was the backyard chicken regulations. Heads up, usually introductions. We've never been able to speak on public comments because it's just an intro. But Christian said, no, actually, because it's on the public agenda, citizens have the right to speak. Whatever's on the agenda, the citizens have a right to speak. So just moving forward, so any introductions, we will be able to speak. So that's pretty interesting. So it was just an intro still, though, so they didn't make any decisions, and that will be on the next agenda to discuss people having chickens in their backyard. And then item number 26 was a golf cart regulations intro. Again, people could speak, but nobody did. And that was to consider an ordinance introduction of city code change to actually allow golf carts within specific areas. And just real quick before I wrap stuff up, Allison actually, which I thought was a good idea, both 25 and 26, the chicken regulations and the golf cart regulations, she suggested a sunset be put on those, which means like, let's just try this out for a certain amount of time and see how it goes. And then we'll come back and we'll look at it again and then put it into law, basically. So I thought that was really a good idea because we don't really know how this chicken thing is going to go, and we don't really know how this golf cart thing is going to go. So I think that was a really good idea, and that can be put in to play, when they make a decision on the next agenda. So with that being said, and I know this probably went really long. I'm sorry, but it went long last night. Can't help it. I just wanted to leave you guys with this. There is a off election coming up in November. Again, I said June, people will be picking up their packets. Murry is the most pissed off, irate, argumentative, toddler, narcissistic, evil piece of shit that I've ever seen him act like or be like in the 6 years that I've unfortunately had to stare at him or hear his voice. This is the worst he's been. Not surprising to me because I guessed this 5 years ago. No one wanted to listen to me. I said he's a piece of shit. He's not who you think he is, and he's certainly not that good little Christian man. Fight me, it's my opinion. No one wanted to believe me, and now they see it. So should have listened to me. I love saying I told you so. Actually, I kind of get tired of saying I told you so because it's annoying, because you think at some point people would actually be like, yeah, what she usually says in her opinions usually come to fruition. And it has. Probably a little bit more than I had anticipated as far as the degree of his assholiness. But this is what's happening. Again, he got pissed because Pines and Gonzo gone. Dan and Balsack gone. Now he's left up there, fending for himself, powerless, and he hates it because he loves his power. But here is my synopsis of what I think is going on. Take it for what it's worth, but I'm usually right on my gut feelings. So I think during Murray's last 2 terms that there's been a pay to play. Can I prove it? No, but I think it. And I think that has or is being threatened to come to an end, because now he's lost his sidekicks. He's lost his overlord, Balsack. So who's left to steer the ship but an uneducated goober? And I think the people, this little shadow government, if you will, are telling him, your days are numbered. We're gonna cut you off. We're not gonna give you the cash flow anymore because you're not making shit happen the way we want anymore. So you better straighten up or we're gonna cut you off. Now, why do I say it like this? I've watched enough movies. You've watched enough movies. You're going to get what I'm saying. Why do people act so desperate like Murray has been acting? And you can see it. Ray Charles can see it. Go back, watch the council meetings. Why do people act like that? Why? When they get that desperate, that vile, that unhinged, what is that about? Well, it's always about money, power, and or sex. I'm going off the movies. You cut off somebody's supply of those 3, 1 of the 3, 2 of the 3, 3 of the 3, and they're going to go cuckoo and they're going to get desperate because they want that power. They want that, keep that money, and they want to keep that power. And for some, they want that sex. I think that's what's going on with Murry. He wants to keep his money and he wants to keep his power. And it's coming to an end because he's lost the power. He can't get his buddies the development that they want. He can't get his buddies the attorney that they wanted in there. That's why he's flipping out and so unhinged, because you've never seen him act like this before. Sure, he's always been a tard and stupid and a mouth breather and an asshole, but never to this level. This level, he's insane right now. He is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It's because money. He's getting cut off from some sort of pay to play. And his power. He loves that power and he's losing power. And he hates it. And that's why he takes it out on Rick. That's why he's mean to Rick. Because he's losing the power. He thinks the power is all on Rick. And Rick's like, dude, you guys are counsel. You have the power. I don't. But Murray's stupid and he doesn't get it. So he's desperate. He wants to keep that money flow coming in. He wants to keep the shadow government happy. Because he's not up there pulling his own strings. He literally has somebody's fist up his asshole, using him as a meat puppet. Somebody is controlling Murray and telling him what to do, or he's going to get cut off from his favors that he gets, his money, his power. He's being controlled up there, and he's not delivering to the mob boss, if you will. He's not delivering. So he's getting more and more desperate, more and more volatile. So now he has gotten a group together. He's gotten, I like to call her Keebler, because I like to. He's gotten Keebler from the Claremont Sun, or news leader, or wherever the fuck they call themselves now. Of course, he's got Psycho Larry Oskin starting a fucking Claremont page, similar to what I do, but from a liberal POV. So he's got him on it. He's, like I said, he's using Keebler. South Lake Tablet comes in at his disposal anytime. So he's got the media, the Kmart media, under his thumb to help him. And now he's got Paula Hoisington, who all of a sudden reared her ugly head out of nowhere. She used to occasionally come in and do her whispering theatrics at the mic, but not very often. But all of a sudden, she comes out of nowhere right after Balsack gets fired. She wants to be on P&Z now. So all of a sudden, she's on P&Z. By default, I went over this before. So now she's in the game. And by the way, she lives like right on top of him. You'd almost think like it's a mother-in-law suite back there, like they're neighbors. So he's got her in on it. He's got Brian Bain working for him. Why do you think they work in tandem up there? Not only are they auditioning to be put on the dais and run, because that's Murray's plan to get Brian Bain and Paula Hoisington up there on the dais with him. So he can take back Claremont and give it right back to the good old boys and the shitty developers and keep his paycheck. Again, this is my synopsis. This is story time. So he wants them up there. So now he's, like I said, he's got them on his team. So now he's got them in the audience to come up and pull things for him, make him look good, get claps, like he did last night with the row house. Well, I think we should give them a 10-year lease right now. 100 of them back there. To make himself look good. Again, it's a political scheme to make Todd look like shit so Brian can swoop in, take a seat in November. So he's utilizing people and he's putting plants in the audience. I know this sounds outrageous, but just hear what I'm saying. Because just hear what I'm saying. Again, this is the Kmart version of politics, and I don't know why these fucktards take this shit so seriously, but this is who we are. This is who we are as Claremont. This is where we've gone because we've let Democrats rule. So we've got his little minions, his plants in the audience to clap and come up, and like I said, he orchestrated that whole row house bullshit. But he's disgusting because he used children and made them cry. Yes, Paula, he made them cry, just like he made Rick Van Wagner's wife cry. It was all orchestrated. And I'm not the only one that said this about last night, in case you think I'm crazy. You're disgusting, Murry. Utilizing that's child abuse. That's what child abuse is. Some man tried to go up there and say, "You guys close row house down. That's child abuse." No, sir. What you're allowing your child to be subjected to via a political scheme, that's child abuse, sir. I would never let my child go up there and be a part of that and be upset. Of course, my kids are older, but like, do you know what I mean? Using your kid as a fucking pawn. Like, this is gross. Murry, you're fucking gross. And he's up there the whole time, just eating it up, lapping it up at the expense of a child's fucking emotions. So anyway, so he's got people like that. He's orchestrating all these sick, weird, twisted fucking things. So he can take back the power and he can keep getting his payola, his pay to play. I know some of you out there know I'm making sense. Some of you might think I'm crazy and I don't give a fuck. But this is what he's doing. And he's utilizing local people in the community. He's utilizing Meredith. She got pissed because she didn't get placed on P&Z 2 weeks ago. Why is she interested in being on P&Z? She's an attorney. She makes her money. She's got her shit going on. Why is she so interested all of a sudden? She hasn't been to a council meeting in I don't know how fucking long. I think the last time I saw Mark Graff at a meeting, she was there. When he got his PUD, which he's yet to even construct or begin to work on. And that was like, I don't know, 3 years ago? I think that was before I even ran for office. So yeah, maybe 4 years ago now. I haven't seen her at a council meeting in years. And all of a sudden, she's going to show up because she wants to be on P&Z. Just like Paula shows up. Starts going to every meeting. Now she wants to be on. These people are auditioning to take back Claremont and put it right back in the old ways of shittiness. They talk about transparency. Oh, there's no transparency. Brian Bain, that was his favorite word. So was Paula's. I'm sorry, where the fuck were you the last, I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 years? When that's what council actually did do. They put shady shit on the consent agenda all the time. Where were you, Paula? Where were you, Bain? When Balsack was putting shit on the consent agenda for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Where were you and where was your transparency fucking issue then? Oh, that's right, because it didn't matter. Because right now, it's all in the plan, it's the game, so you can audition and get on council and take this town to the Democrat ways. And Murry can still get paid. And maintain his power. Maybe he get himself a new pimp suit. But this is what's going on. This is what I wanted to talk to you about. This is the scam. This is the scheme. And it's going to get worse, folks. Mark my word. Because this will age very well. Come June, who picks up a packet? It's all being put into place. Larry Askin has the page now so they can push their candidates. It's like they're copycatting me. And I don't think I've ever really said that, oh, you're copying me. But they are. They're literally taking what I do. I should say there's other people. We do. And they're trying to copy it. But from the libtard POV. And for evil. I'm sorry, but you can't sit at the big people's table. at the adult tables. Go back and stay in your lane, as Murray likes to call it. Stay in your lane at the toddler table, because you guys act like it. You can't play with us. Sorry, isn't going to work, because you can't outfox a fox. Can you, Murray? Can't outfox me. You can't. I know what y'all are doing. It's gross, and that you're using children even makes me more disgusted with you. You should be in a padded cell with whale. So that's what's happening, folks. This is what's going on in your city. Wait for it. Watch it. Watch it. Because it will all unravel right before your eyes. And this will age well. I'm telling you right now. I might not have every little aspect correct, but I guarantee you 95% of what I'm saying is accurate. And I have a source that told me Murray was parked at Michelle Pine's house. Well, I should say her boyfriend's house. She doesn't own that house. On New Year's Day for 2 hours. His little brand new Genesis. How's he paying for that? Was parked there for 2 hours. Why is he over at a former council member's house for 2 hours? Is there a shadow government going on? What does she have to do with the price of eggs? I'm telling you, they are scheming and conniving and putting together their bullshit for what they're about to do. Watch for it. Oh, and P.S. before I go, I wanted to let you know that also, and again, we're not stupid, Murray made a statement last night, true to form, and just proves what I'm saying is true. He said, I never, all the time I've been up here, I've never spent a lot of time at City Hall, but because, and he's blaming his constituents for wanting him to be at City Hall. But because he didn't say that word. I don't think he knows how to pronounce it. But I've been, being told by people that I should be up here more. So, every Monday and Wednesday from 8 to noon, I'm gonna be up here utilizing the mayor's office. I'm gonna have my office up here, every Monday and Wednesday, 8 to 12. Now, I can't guarantee I'll be here up to 12, and everything, okay, but I was gonna try to be here to 12. I'm gonna be here. Why is he doing that? Because he wants to micromanage City Hall. That's why he's there. He has never utilized the mayor's office up there, ever. He's been up there, this is his third term. So the last 4 years, he has never utilized the mayor's office or the office that they let the mayor use up there. Ever. Ever. Why is he now? Because he wants to micromanage Rick. Now remember, Rick runs staff. Murray runs Rick. It's right in the charter. Council members cannot tell staff what to do. They don't run staff. Rick runs staff. At least for right now, he's the interim. City manager runs staff, not Murray. But Murray wants to micromanage. He wants to be the overlord. He wants to keep an eye on Rick. What does he want to keep an eye on Rick? Is he afraid Rick's going to uncover some shit that he was involved in, or maybe Ballsack was involved in? I've known for over a year, maybe almost 2, since Ballsack's been there, what Ballsack was involved in. And it's criminal. And I've known about it. I've had the tangible evidence, and it was given to a couple of people. Was Murray involved in it? Is that why he feels like he has to set up shop every Monday and Wednesday, 8 to noon at City Hall, so he can keep an eye on Rick and what he's doing? Or does he just want to play head dick and run shit? Thinks he runs shit. Thinks he's someone special. I don't know. Stay tuned, folks. We'll see. I've wasted enough time. I just wanted to get that out. I wanted to go over last night's meeting, and I wanted to tell you my little synopsis of all of the things that I'm seeing, and like I said, make a synopsis of it. And that's my synopsis of what I see going on and I think is going to happen, and I feel like it will age well, and we will just see come June. I've already started vetting That's going to be interesting in June. So stay tuned for that. Lots of fun stuff coming up over this next several months. Until then, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.